Wow.
Save you squeeze yourself into that corner really tight,
Look at that stance, that power stance. Just.
if this doesn't make you want to join EG, nothing will.
So this is me. Hi, I'm Alex Thomas. I'm one of the lecturers here at the University of Edinburgh, and this is the fourth year Environmental Geoscience trip to Oban. So this trip is also led by Greg Cowie, you can see here. So he leads the field trip to Jamaica in the third year as well. I don't get to go to Jamaica, but you know, that's fine. So this trip goes to the northwest Highlands in Scotland, and we look at this beautiful loch here, Loch Etive, and we're aiming to compare the conditions here in this kind of colder, temperate coastal system to what the students saw in a tropical coastal system in Jamaica. So just like a lot of our field trips for the Environmental Geoscience programme, a large part of what we do is taking samples out in the field. So in this case we can see we're taking some sediment samples, we'll also be taking water samples, and we'll also be taking measurements of physical parameters in the field as well. We do this kind of thing in the Jamaica field trip, we do it on a field trip down to the Lake District as well. And the idea here is we're using these measurements to get an idea of what are the distributions of different chemicals and physical properties within the coastal environment, and what is the reason for those differences. And then we'll use those distributions of chemistry, compare those to the distributions of where we find high biological productivity. And we're basically trying to figure out from those distributions what are the processes that are controlling the health of this coastal environment. Okay, so Greg here is demonstrating one of the techniques that we get the students to do on the field trip. So this is the measurement of dissolved oxygen in the loch water, and this is a really important thing for us to know, because it tells us how the biology is impacting the chemistry through organic matter being respired and using up the oxygen, but also how the chemistry, in case the availability of oxygen, affects the biology in the loch as well.
Okay, then keep it squeezed.
So just like in the Jamaica field trip that the students have taken the third year, it's not just working out in the field, we also have some classroom work where students decide on sampling strategies to decide which samples they're going to take in the field, or which samples that they've taken in the field are going to be selected for measurement. So this is the lab that we use back at the Scottish Association for Marine Sciences near Oban, and you can see the facilities are pretty good here. And there are a variety of techniques that the students do on some of the samples that they're taking for sediments and for waters. So you can see here that some of the samples are being processed inside a bag. This is to make sure that no oxygen gets into the sedimentary samples before they're analysed and affecting their chemistry. So some of the other techniques you might be more familiar with from kind of chemistry that you might have done at school, things like titrations. We also make sure that a flat cap is worn at least once on the field trip. So the students do a variety of different measurement techniques to measure a whole bunch of different chemical parameters. Some of the work, as you can see, is quite tiring. But at the end of it, the students generate quite a large data set that encompasses a wide range of different types of measurements. So they'll do titrations to measure the amount of oxygen. They might do some fluorescence measurements to measure the amount of chlorophyll. They might do some colorimetry to work out the concentrations of manganese and iron, maybe in some of the sediments that they've collected. And this large kind of multi-parameter data set is really what we're testing the students with in their ability to write a scientific report about the conditions in the loch currently and how those may change into the future. So the idea is to get students to work with a large complex data set, and by getting them to actually make quite a lot of the measurements themselves, they get a good overall picture of data quality and data comparability between different data sets. So this is some of the data that students might plot up as part of their project, and here we're really looking at trying to draw together different things like maybe the physical properties, temperature and salinity, and how those are influencing things like the chemistry of the water, in this case the oxygen. So one of the things that we get the students to do is work together as a team to create a larger data set than any one student. You can see the students here working in the evenings over a glass of water, which you can see here, to make sure that that data set is together, and they can all use that one data set to write up their individual independent reports as part of their assessment. So this is a really important aspect of quite a lot of the courses and fieldwork as part of our degree program, is getting students to work together as a coherent team. So just like on the Jamaica field trip, which the students I guess will have been on a few months beforehand, we go to the beach. So we do use this beach for its intended purpose, as well as looking at some science as well. But what we're doing here is we're looking at some of the morphology of the landscape and of the beach deposits to tell us something about how the environment has changed through recent geological times, so since the last glacial 20,000 years ago.
You're living it.
Okay, so this is an example. We're looking here at a salt marsh, but we look at other things. There are a whole variety of really interesting geomorphological features that we look at. So this is one of those. This is a cave. We actually get the students to do some maths in the cave. We also get one of the students to wear a bag on his head. We only had one bag, so not everyone got a bag, which is a bit of a disappointment for everyone else, because of course everyone likes having a bag on their head. So you can see some of the students like this because they're smiling as they're walking back to the bus.
In the lab. Yeah.
Except this guy, he's not a student. So this is Scott. Scott did quite a lot of the filming for this video, so thanks to Scott. So I'll show this picture of you eating a sandwich, which I'm sure you'll appreciate. So if you like what you're seeing with the field trip, then come and join us. Join us, and do environmental geoscience.
Getting
It'll be
closer
fun.
than that. Come on. Yeah, there you go.